Disclaimer, I'm Batman.
Welcome back, and if you remember last time we had some feedback issues on our rudder with it jumping around all over the place. Well, unfortunately it got worse, so we had to make our way back to Portland here, and today we're going to investigate.
The issue was the helm jumping around, as can be seen here. This meant we would start to go off course, and sometimes considerably, especially downwind, which again could be dangerous if it caused a jibe. It started off intermittent but got steadily worse the longer the auto-helm was engaged, so we could only run it for short periods of time. You can see here the rudder looks like it's jumping between its actual position and the near limit setting.
From my research, it looks like it's actually the feedback transducer, which is built inside the motor, the Jeffa motor on the auto-helm. So today we're going to strip it out and we're going to do some testing, and I've already got a replacement, so if need be we'll put the new one in. So back down into the lazarette then.
First, we need to slacken the nuts holding the motor to the helm. These are nylock nuts used to reduce the likelihood of loosening due to vibration, so should be replaced with new ones as the nylon is less effective if reused.
It's got zip ties. Disconnect the controller. There we go. Now, remove the motor. And there we go. We're off. So that's removed, and we've obviously got two keys, so we'll have to keep an eye on those, make sure we don't lose them. Okay. Excellent. Let's get this upstairs.
And here it is. This is the autopilot for the helm. So obviously there's a motor at the top here, gearbox in the middle. That's the power for the actual motor. That's the power for the clutch, and then this is the feedback transducer, the bit we're going to have to replace. So we're going to have to get her apart. So what we're going to do is we're going to test the transducer, the feedback transducer. So what we've done is I've wired across the appropriate terminals here. Okay, put a couple of bits of wire in, and then obviously connected the meter across it. And currently we're reading 6k. Okay, so I'm now going to turn this backwards and forwards, and we should in theory see the meter jumping up and down. Let's have a look. What we're looking for is a jump in the wrong direction. There, you see, so it was going down towards 4, jumped up to 7.
Later, during editing, I noticed this part where it was going down, stalled at about 7.5k, then jumped up to 23k before dropping back to 5k, and this was with me turning the shaft in one direction only. This confirms the transducer has become electrically noisy and will need to be replaced.
So stage one is to remove the pan motor on the back here. It's these 4 Allen screws, 3 Allen screws on the back here. Luckily, this is a European design, so It'll be all metric. There we go. They are well torqued on, so I may need to get my impact driver on it so I don't damage the... Let's have a look. Yep, gonna need an impact driver on it. See you in a couple of minutes. Okay, an hour later, and one of them came out eventually. The other two I had to cut slots in with a Dremel to get them out because they just ran their heads off, so I'm going to have to get some new countersunk screws. But wow, they are in tight, just bear that in mind. They are in tight. Nearly broke this, and did break one of my other Allen keys. Just gives you an idea of how much torque there was on it. And that's and I ended up putting an impact driver on it and just ran their heads off, so it wasn't coming out without doing this. Obviously, you know, cut the slot in and putting a slot head in, and that got them undone. But I was getting worried I might have to drill them out, but we didn't, so good. Just a couple of new bolts and we'll be cooking on gas. Now then, let's get this off. Let's tidy up a little bit. A little clear up. Next thing to do is to remove the actual motor itself. Okay, so that's the actual motor and gearbox, stage one. And then in here is the main gearbox. And my understanding is you've got to take out this first, like so. Remove that, and that should then give us a view into where the transducer sits. Yes, there it is down there. That's where the feedback. So the feedback transducer is down in here. We've also then got to work from the other side to pull it out. So once we removed that gear, we can then take out the main inner housing, like so. Excellent. And this is the feedback. So here, this is the feedback gear that actually connects to this feedback transducer here, which is the bit that's got to come out. So we now got to turn it over and remove the other side. That's these ones. I hope these are easy to undo. Oh yes, they are. Good. Move the motor over the way. Turn this over. Right. So these are the clutches. So bear in mind. So keep an eye on those.
They're actually the solenoids used to engage the clutch.
Ah, there you go. Never noticed those. So obviously that's where the clutch engages. So let's turn it over. These pins, when the clutch engages, comes up like that, and it grabs the first two that's available, and then works. The whole system works from there. Impressive, impressive. Right, what we have got to do though, we've got to get this out. I'm assuming we have to push up from underneath. Remove. Oh, there we go. That's a bit. Oh, there she goes. She's out. Okay, so there it is. There is the potentiometer, feedback transducer, call it what you will, with the cables on. So now it's just a matter of me remaking these. Excellent. First thing I'm going to do is get a camera, take a picture, just to make sure I've got the wires in the right place, and then we'll get some heat shrink and go from there.
cut these off and solder them up. Right. Let's put that heat shrink back on. Here's the new one. So looks fairly similar. Seems to have a longer gear. Okay, right, let's put these all on and see how we get on.
It turned out we were sent the wrong transducer, as these gears are slightly different diameters and therefore it would not engage. I have to say Jeffa were great, and the replacements were sent by return of post, which were fitted without an issue.
So, sitting there okay, I should be able to sort it out. Right. Right, let's slide these on. There we go. Keep going. So roll them up like they were before. The dinghy ejecting water because it's been raining for the last God knows how long. That's interesting. Ah, yes. Okay. Yeah, so we'll take that little piece off the top here. That should, there you go, sitting there. So, there we go. Yeah, look at that, perfect. You'd think it was meant to be there, but it kind of is. Right, now's the time to start reversing everything. Tough gel. There we go. over. Put the gearbox in.
A little marine grease is always good. This is Sam returning, so time for a quick tea break.
Hello.
And finally, we put the motor back on. There we go. Now all I've got to do is get 3 new countersunk screws, look like M6s to me, and we're ready to rock. See you when to testing.
To set up the Auto-helm on a Garmin system, you need to enter the dealer hidden setup menu. So enter setup, scroll down to system, then system information, then press the right hand key and wait for diagnostics to appear. Now go back to the beginning and enter the setup again, where you will see the dealer setup menu. We're looking for the rudder sensor setup, and specifically the calibrate rudder center and calibrate rudder sensor. Now just follow the on-screen instructions. Job done. All we need to do now is get out on the water and do a final test, but unfortunately that won't be for a little while. Until then, stay safe.